shop. Ponderosa living like a villain. Did a lot of shit to get it. Spent a lot of time in prison. Gave my life away for nothing. It's nothing cause I'm living like I did it for my niggas. Now they caught up in their feelings. They gon' hate me till they kill me. They gon' tell on me for dealing. They gon' get me sooner or later. I just hope they bout they business. But until then I'm gon' eat like ain't no meal prepared can feel it. And until I get the millions I'ma still be in the kitchen. 70-30 water whipping, 50-50 remixing, whole team whip switching. Bad bitches on the ceiling from the porch to the kitchen. You can catch a nigga pitching if you playin' with that money. Boy, my young nigga tripping me and 20 in a situation. Everybody listen, got the roll, sips of roll. It ain't hard to come up missing through the lenses of my Cartier $1,000 vision with $1,000 ball trying to flip it. All I know, I feel like nobody understand. So I'm so full with my nuts in my hand. Got a big mouth, a big gun. I get me, the fuck you mean? That's all a nigga know. I feel like nobody understand. So I'm so full with my nuts in my hand. Got a big mouth, a big gun. I get me, the fuck you mean? That's all a nigga know. All a nigga know. That's all a nigga know. That's all a nigga know. All a nigga know. All a nigga know. That's all a nigga know. That's all a nigga know. I feel like nobody understand. So I'm so full with my nuts in my hand. Got a big mouth, a big gun. I get me, the fuck you mean? That's all a nigga know. I feel like nobody understand. So I'm so full with my nuts in my hand. Got a big mouth, a big gun. I get me, the fuck you mean? That's all a nigga know. I feel like nobody understand. So I'm so full with my nuts in my hand. Got a big mouth, a big gun. I get me, the fuck you mean? That's all a nigga know. I feel like nobody understand. So I'm so full with my nuts in my hand.
Welcome back to the show. Man Talk Monday. All right, at 1 p.m. today, don't forget the Jeff Fox Show. Normally on Mondays, Jeff doesn't come on until 3 o'clock. But today, as we mentioned earlier, the number one Chief Rocker Vern from Jersey show. So at 1 p.m. today, Jeff Fox comes to you live from Miami, Florida, talking about the sports. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. But another interesting story, man, that I found was some comments made by NFL Hall of Famer Warren Sapp. And Warren Sapp now agrees with his former teammate in Tampa, Booger McFarland, about Myles Garrett and deserving to be the number one pick. Here's a quote from Warren Sapp. He says, "I don't see it from this kid." Sapp said Sunday about Garrett, "I see the splash plays. Everybody gets those. Where's the game where he took over? Where? Any defensive lineman who the number one pick, you turn up and you say, there it is. This kid, no, I don't." He says, "I'm a pretty plain and frank guy, and I watched the tape, and he disappears. I watched the tape, and he absolutely disappears." Still, Garrett is considered the favorite to go number one to the Cleveland Browns, who used the number one overall pick in the 2000 draft on Penn State defensive end Courtney Brown. For people that don't know, Courtney Brown grew up in the next town near my hometown of Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Courtney Brown grew up in Alvin, South Carolina. Him and Joe Hamilton are homeboys. More of the quote, I don't think this kid is as good as Courtney Brown either. And talking about the Cleveland Browns having the first pick, obviously Cleveland Brown picked Courtney Brown back in the day. It's all about measurables. He said once you hit the measurable, it's tough to get them old scout people off the numbers. And that's what he has. And talking about Myles Garrett. He's big and he's fast. Now, some defensive line coach is thinking, I can turn him into something. How? I'm trying to figure this out. Really? Are we lowering the bar? I see a lazy kid that makes 4 plays a game, Sapp said. This is the number one guy? No, 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 no. This ain't even close. Wow. Wow. You talking about hurting somebody money? Because as much as these scouts and these teams, are saying that they're going to go by their metrics and they're going to go by their policies on what player that they're going to draft or not, having 2 prominent players that played in the NFL for many, many years to so openly come out about Myles Garrett that's bad. Now, I still think Cleveland's going to take him based on everything that I'm reading and hearing about. But that makes you kind of think, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. A lot of people don't know it, but in big games or in, FCS games compared to FBS games, Myles Garrett really hadn't, impressed a lot. I'm pulling from a story here. Myles Garrett, widely considered to be the top prospect for the 2017 NFL Draft, put up some impressive numbers in college. He collected 145 tackles, including 48.5 tackles for losses and 32.5 sacks in 36 career games while playing in the SEC West. However, as the story goes on to say, when his numbers are broken down, a few disturbing discrepancies appear. The starkest contrast appears when splitting his games up by Power 5 versus non-Power 5 opponents. Okay, so you know what they're talking about. The Power 5 conferences are the 5 conferences that make, the bowl championship series or the playoffs now that they're calling them these last couple of years with the playoffs implemented. So you're talking about teams from the SEC, the Big 12, the Pac-10, the Big 10, and the ACC. Those are the Power 5 conferences. And when they say non-Power 5s, they're games against, Valdosta State and any directional school that you can think of. So the smaller schools, okay? Your Catawbas of the world, your Appalachian States of the world, your Furmans, that type of school. All right? So versus FBS Power 5 teams, he's played 27 games, and he has 16.5 sacks. That averages out to 0.61 sacks per game. All right? So 27 games against the big boys, and he's got 16.5 sacks. Where in 6 games against non-Power 5 teams, and only 6 games, he's got 14 sacks, which averages out to 2.33 sacks per game. So he basically got as many sacks in the smaller games and the teams against the smaller teams that he did against, 6 times, 4 times as many games against the big boys, which is not a good look. The story goes on to say, as you can see, Garrett's sack rate versus non-Power 5 opponents was nearly 4 times, right, as I just talked about, was nearly 4 times his rate versus Power 5 teams. In fact, nearly half, 14 of 32.5 of his career sacks came in just 6 non-Power 5 games. All right, so to break this down in a nutshell, is he balled out of control and he had amassed almost half of his sacks in 4 times his left games against smaller schools. When he played against the big boys, he really didn't do a damn thing. Another interesting stat about Myles Garrett is the stat split between wins and losses, okay? So in the wins, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and the wins that Texas A&M had when he played, those are 22 wins, he had 27.5 sacks, all right, which averages out to 1.25 sacks per game. In the losses, the 14 games, he had 5, which are only .36, which basically says in the big games, he really didn't show up to the degree that you would want. The stat line could be interpreted in a couple of different ways. One on hand, when Myles Garrett was on, he was excellent at 1.25 sacks a game and wins, and often powered Texas A&M to victory. And on the other hand, when he was off, he was way off, notching only 5 sacks in 14 games. A&M went to lose. Okay? So, you know, you can look at it and say, well, the games where he had a big game, they went on to win games, and the games that they lost, he really didn't do a damn thing. He wasn't the difference maker in those particular losses. So very interesting. I think that he's probably still going to be number one because kind of like Jadeveon Clowney, and I don't remember when Jadeveon Clowney coming out, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember when Clowney came out. I don't remember NFL players saying that he was going to be a bust. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's somebody I'm just, a story that I'm forgetting about. But I don't remember prominent NFL players saying that, they didn't see Jadeveon Clowney as being the number one pick in the draft, and they thought that he wasn't going to be or live up to the hype. I don't remember that. I remember a lot of, media people and a lot of fans in general that said that Jadeveon Clowney had these injury issues, and a lot of people speculated that he was going to be a bust. But I don't remember NFL players at the time, past or present, saying, Jadeveon Clowney is just hype. He's not going to pan out. I don't remember that at all. So this is a bad look. This is a bad, bad look. And to be honest with you, if you talk about these stats, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, if you talk about the numbers that I just broke down for you, and the fact that the NFL, they do get enamored with guys with these great measurables. And we have seen, I talked about Courtney Brown. Courtney Brown tested out of this world, as far as the combine and his personal workout for the school. And the rest is history. I hate to speak negative about him once again because he's from the low country. But, he's not the only one. We've seen a lot of high-profile defensive players. Remember Mike Mamula, who was this all-world guy coming out? I think Philadelphia Eagles drafted him, didn't do a damn thing. A lot of these cats, to quote my Little League football coach and many coaches subsequently after that, a lot of these cats look like Tarzan, but they play like Jane. A lot of these cats look like Tarzan, but they play like Jane. Okay? You look like a Greek god when you take your shirt off and you can run fast, you can jump high and all of that. But do you got that dog in you? And Myles Garrett, he's got all these other interests outside of football. He wants to be a paleontologist. That's cool, But when NFL players that played your position say that you don't put forth a lot of effort, you take plays off, and you don't see the heart, you don't see a guy making as many plays as he should with the gifts that God has given him, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. So we'll see what happens. I think he's still going to go number one. Because like I said about Jadeveon Clowney, I mean, it's just too much. He's just too big, too fast, too strong not to take him at number one. Like, he may do the exact opposite and ball out of control. And if you don't take the guy at number one because of concerns from former players or what have you, then you're going to feel like an idiot because it's right there. The guy's 6'6", 275 pounds, running 4.6 40. You'd be an idiot not to take him. This kind of muddies the water a little bit. From Sin, he says they come in hard for Garrett. From Sidney Jackson, wait a minute. How is Warren Sapp, hooker-beating ass, going to criticize someone? Well, you would have a point there, but we're not talking about something that happened off the field. We're talking about the guy's motor and what he sees from him on the field. So it's football-related, so I think it's in bounds, Sidney Jackson. From 334 Bama Boy, Sapp, go sit your ass down, shaking my head.